I'd been staring at the same page of a book for 10 minutes, pretending to read. The quiet of my apartment was heavy, the kind that made you hear your own heartbeat. Late afternoon light leaked through the blinds, striping the carpet in faded gold. Then the knock came, soft but sure. When I opened the door, she was standing there. Maya. Her hair was damp, a stray lock sticking to her cheek like she'd just come in from the rain. She was older, mid-40s, but that only seemed to sharpen her presence. She carried herself like someone who'd learned not to waste words, yet the faint smile tugging at her lips told me she still could. "You left something," she said, stepping past me before I could even answer. "Or maybe you meant to." I blinked. "What?" She set a folded piece of paper on my desk, right on top of my forgotten book. She didn't explain, just stood there, glancing around my small room like she was mapping it. My hoodie hung over the back of a chair, my guitar leaning in the corner, the half-finished mug of coffee cooling on the windowsill. I could feel my pulse in my throat. It wasn't the first time she'd been here, but every visit carried that same strange electricity, like she was on the edge of saying something neither of us could take back. We'd met 3 months ago, at the community center. I was working on the sound system for an open mic night. She was helping organize it. I noticed her laugh first, warm but with a crack in it, as though she was laughing with you, not at you. "You're staring," she said now, glancing at me. "I'm not," I said. My voice betrayed me. Her eyes lingered on mine for a moment longer than they needed to. Then she turned toward the window, her hand brushing the curtain. I watched her fingertips hesitate on the fabric like she was about to pull it aside, but thought better of it. The paper still sat on the desk. My name was written on it, my actual name, in her handwriting. I couldn't bring myself to open it yet. "I thought about not bringing it," she said quietly. But then I thought, no, he should have it. There was something in the way she said he that made the air in the room shift. "You could have texted," I said. "Some things don't read the same in text." She smiled faintly, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Besides, maybe I wanted to see you." That landed somewhere deep in my chest. I didn't know if I should laugh, thank her, or ask her to stay. Instead, I stepped closer, close enough to catch the faint scent of her shampoo, something floral but grounding. "You didn't answer my question," I said. "Did I leave something? Or did you want to give me something?" She tilted her head, almost amused. "Both, maybe." Silence stretched between us, the kind that makes you aware of your breathing. Her hand grazed the paper once more. "Open it when I leave," she said. I almost told her not to leave at all. She walked toward the door, and I followed without meaning to. Just before stepping out, she turned. "Might change things," she murmured, eyes steady on mine. "If you let it." The sound of my phone buzzing cut through the air. A name flashed across the screen, someone I hadn't spoken to in months. Maya's gaze flicked to it, then back to me. She didn't move. The phone buzzed again. I didn't answer. Maya's eyes lingered on it for a heartbeat before she stepped inside again, closing the door behind her this time. The air felt smaller, heavier. "You're not going to get that?" she asked. "It can wait." She studied me, like she was trying to decide if she believed me or not. Then she walked past, letting her fingertips trail along the edge of my desk. The paper sat there, still unopened. "Do you always ignore people so easily?" she asked, almost teasing. "Only when I'm distracted." Her lips pressed into a thin smile. Dangerous answer. We'd known each other long enough that I'd pieced together bits of her life. Divorced, no kids, lived alone in a townhouse at the edge of the neighborhood. I also knew she'd been with someone younger before. I'd overheard a friend teasing her about it once, and she'd just laughed it off. As for me, I'd had relationships, but nothing that stuck. Nothing that felt like this, whatever this was. The first time we'd talked outside of the community center, it was late at night. I'd walked her to her car after we finished packing up, and she'd leaned against the driver's side door, telling me about the first concert she'd ever gone to. I'd been hooked, not by the story itself, but by the way she told it, like she was letting me in on something private. Now, standing in my room, she looked around like she was remembering something too. "This place, it's so you," she said softly. "Messy, but in a way that makes sense." I chuckled. "That's not really a compliment." "Sure it is." She glanced at the guitar in the corner. "Still playing?" "Sometimes." Not as much lately. Her expression shifted, just slightly. Shame. I remember the first time I heard you play. You were so nervous you almost didn't start. I shrugged, though her memory of it warmed something in me. Guess I needed someone to listen. Her eyes caught mine then, and neither of us looked away. It was a dangerous sort of quiet, not awkward, but charged. I could feel the unspoken things pressing at the edges. The age difference. The way people might talk. The fact that her best friend was my aunt, which made this whole thing even more complicated. I wasn't supposed to think about her like this, but I did. She stepped closer, her hand brushing mine. Barely there, but enough to make my pulse jump. Maya, I said, her name catching in my throat. She didn't move away. You still haven't read it, she said, nodding toward the folded paper. I will. Just not yet. Her lips curved into the faintest smile. You're afraid of what it says. I didn't deny it. For a moment, we just stood there, close enough that I could feel the warmth of her skin, the faint scent of rain still clinging to her hair. Her fingers lingered against mine a second longer before she pulled back, but the ghost of her touch stayed. The third buzz from my phone was followed by a knock at the front door, loud enough to jolt both of us. Maya froze. Are you expecting someone? She asked, voice low. I shook my head. The knock came again, sharper this time. She took a small step back from me, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. Maybe you should. But before she could finish, my roommate, Alex, pushed the door open and stepped inside like he owned the place. Dude, you weren't answering your phone, he said, before noticing Maya. He stopped, eyes darting between us. Oh, hey. Her smile was polite but tight. Hi. Alex glanced at the paper on my desk, then at how close we were standing. Didn't mean to interrupt. His tone said he knew he was interrupting. Maya stepped back, putting a careful distance between us. I was just dropping something off. Right? Alex said slowly. Well, I'll be in my room. He shot me a look on his way down the hall, the kind that meant we're talking later. The door to his room clicked shut. Maya exhaled. He suspects something. He doesn't know anything, I said quickly. She gave me a look that said she wasn't convinced. This is what I meant, you know. The whispers. The questions. You think you can handle that? I didn't answer right away. The truth was, I didn't know. You think I haven't thought about this? She continued. About what people would say? About the fact that you're... She stopped herself, biting down on the words. Younger, I said. Her eyes softened, but she didn't deny it. And that you're family to someone I care about. This isn't simple. No, I said, taking a step closer, but it's real. Her breath caught, just slightly, when I moved into her space again. I could feel the tension humming between us, something magnetic and reckless. She didn't back away this time. For a moment, our faces were inches apart, the air between us thin and electric. I could see the faint freckles across her cheekbones, the way her pupils widened. My hand almost lifted to touch her, but her phone buzzed in her bag. The sound broke the spell. She stepped back, pulling it out. Her eyes flicked to the screen, and whatever she saw made her expression change, tighter, more guarded. I have to go, she said quickly. Maya, she shook her head. Not now. Before I could stop her, she was at the door. I stood there, listening to the sound of her heels fading down the hallway. My own phone buzzed again. This time, a message from Alex. Dude, we need to talk. I looked at the folded paper on my desk, still unopened, the words inside pulling at me like a gravity I couldn't escape. Somewhere down the street, I heard a car start, and I knew she was driving away thinking the same thing I was, that we were already in too deep to stop, that I didn't sleep that night. The paper sat on my desk like it was staring at me. By morning, I couldn't take it anymore. I unfolded it. It wasn't long, just a few lines in her handwriting. I've tried to ignore this. I can't. But I need to know you want this too. No name, no signature. Just that. I was still holding it when my phone lit up with a text from Alex. She was parked outside your place this morning. What's going on? I didn't answer. I just grabbed my jacket and went. When I got to her townhouse, she was in the garden, trimming the last of the summer roses. She looked up, surprised, but not shocked. You read it, she said. I did. And her hands stilled on the shears. And you already know. She let out a slow breath, setting the shears down. Don't make this harder. I'm not here to make it harder, I said. I'm here because… I stopped, words tangling in my throat. Because I can't stop thinking about you. Her expression flickered. Relief, fear, maybe both. Do you have any idea what you're saying? Yes, I said, stepping closer. Do you? Her jaw tightened. You're making this sound easy. It's not. I'm not saying it's easy, I said. I'm saying it's already happening, whether we want it or not. She looked away, toward the roses. I don't want to ruin your life. I almost laughed. You think you're that powerful? Her eyes snapped back to mine, and for the first time, I saw it. Not just attraction, but the fear underneath. Fear of being judged, of being selfish, of losing control. I stepped forward again, closing the space between us. Tell me you don't feel it, and I'll leave. Her lips parted, but no words came. You can't, I said softly. She shook her head, almost angry now. You're too young to understand what happens when this kind of thing comes out. Then make me understand, I said, my voice low. Something broke in her then. I'm jealous, she admitted, almost spitting the word. Every time I see you talking to someone your age. Every time I think you might move on and forget me. I hate it. And I hate myself for it. The silence that followed felt like it could crush us both. I reached out, my hand brushing hers. She didn't pull away. Maya, I whispered. She looked at me, eyes wide, almost panicked, and I knew she was right on the edge of doing something neither of us could take back. The wind shifted, carrying the scent of the roses between us. And then she stepped forward. She was so close I could feel her breath, and then a voice cut through the air. Maya, we both froze. A man stood at the edge of the garden, holding a grocery bag. Tall, sharp features, mid-40s. He looked from her to me with a narrowing gaze. Maya, he said again, this time slower. Who's this? Her face drained of color. Ethan, this is… She stopped, like even saying my name might be too much. He set the grocery bag on the ground. Your nephew's friend, right? The one who was helping at the center. I felt the air go cold. Nephew's friend. Of course. He knew exactly who I was. Maya's voice was too calm, too careful. Yes. He just stopped by. Ethan's eyes didn't leave mine. Right. Silence stretched, jagged and heavy. Anyway, he said finally, his tone clipped. I need to talk to you. Inside, Maya hesitated, glancing at me, not pleading exactly, but saying something without words. I stepped back, giving her the out she clearly wanted. I'll go, I said. Her lips parted like she wanted to stop me, but she didn't. I walked away, but I didn't make it far before my phone buzzed. It was Alex. You need to hear this. I called him. What? Your aunt just called me, he said, his voice low. She's saying there's some story going around, that you and Maya have been, you know. She said it's getting around fast. I stopped in the middle of the sidewalk. What? How? No idea. But it's not just her. Someone's been watching. I think it's Ethan. My stomach dropped. I turned back toward the townhouse, but Maya and Ethan were gone from the garden. The roses swayed in the wind, their petals scattering across the grass like nothing had happened. I wanted to knock on the door, demand to know what Ethan had said to her, what he'd heard. But I didn't. Instead, I walked until I found myself back at my apartment. The folded paper was still in my pocket, creased from being held too tight. Another text from Alex. She's in trouble. And so are you. I didn't know if he meant trouble with Ethan, trouble with my family, or something else entirely, but I knew one thing. Whatever line we'd been dancing around wasn't invisible anymore. Someone had drawn it in red ink. And now, crossing it might cost us both more than we'd been willing to admit. It was almost midnight when I finally knocked on her door. For a long moment, nothing. Then the sound of locks sliding back. She opened it just far enough to see me. Her eyes were tired, but they didn't look away from mine. You shouldn't be here, she said quietly. Then tell me to go, I said. Her hand stayed on the door, but she didn't close it. Ethan thinks there's something going on. He's not wrong. Do you care what he thinks? I care about what happens when people believe him. The porch light caught the faint tremor in her fingers. I reached for her hand without thinking, and for once, she didn't pull away. I don't want this to end because we were scared, I said. Her voice cracked. And I don't want you to look back in 10 years and think I ruined your life. You won't. You can't know that. Silence pressed in. The night air smelled faintly of rain, the same way it had the first time she ever came to my place. I read your note, I said finally. And yes, I want this too. Her breath caught, and for a second I thought she might cry. But instead, she stepped back, opening the door wider. Inside, the house was dim. The only light came from a small lamp in the living room. We stood there in the half-dark, closer than we'd been since the garden. I should tell you to leave, she whispered. Then why don't you? Her eyes searched mine, for doubt, for hesitation, maybe for a reason to push me away. She didn't find one. You don't make things easy, she said. I'm not trying to. For a long time, neither of us moved. The clock on the wall ticked softly, every second stretching between us. Finally, she exhaled, like she was surrendering to something she'd been holding back for too long. If we do this, there's no going back. I'm already past that point, I said. A half-smile ghosted over her face. She reached up, her fingertips brushing my cheek. The lightest touch, but it lit every nerve in me. And then she pulled away. I need time, she said, to figure out what I'm risking. What we're risking. It wasn't a yes, but it wasn't a no. She walked me to the door, her hand brushing mine one last time before she opened it. The night felt heavier now, full of things unsaid. As I stepped out, she said my name, soft enough that I almost didn't hear it. When I decide, you'll be the first to know. The door closed behind me, leaving me on the porch with nothing but the cool air and the sound of my own heartbeat, and the impossible hope that maybe, just maybe, she'd choose me. 3 weeks. That's how long it was before I heard from her again. I tried not to count, but every morning I'd wake up and think about the way her hand felt against mine that night, how her voice dipped when she said she needed time. Then, on a Thursday evening, my phone lit up with her name. Can we talk? I was out the door before I even replied. When she opened it, she looked different, not in how she dressed or stood, but in her eyes. Like she'd been carrying something heavy and had finally decided to set it down. I've thought about nothing else, she said, stepping aside to let me in. About you. About me. About us. The words came fast, like she was afraid she'd lose her nerve. I kept telling myself I was protecting you. But maybe I was protecting myself from being judged, from losing people I care about, from being happy in a way I didn't expect. I didn't move closer yet. I wanted her to have space. And now, she smiled, small and fragile but real. Now I know I can't unknow what I feel. I can't pretend we're nothing. The air shifted. The same electric pull was there, but quieter now, not frantic, not desperate, just steady. I'm not saying this will be easy, she said. People will talk. Ethan might make it ugly. Your family might hate me. They don't get to choose, I said simply. Her eyes softened, and she stepped closer until the distance between us was almost gone. So you still want this? I never stopped. Her hand found mine, fingers lacing together. No hesitation this time. No pulling away. We stood there like that for a long moment, saying nothing. When she finally leaned in, it wasn't rushed or stolen. It was the kind of kiss that felt like an answer to every question we'd been too afraid to ask. And in that moment, I knew we'd crossed the line we'd been dancing around for months. Whatever came next, we'd face it together. Later, as I left her place, the night air felt different. Lighter. Not because everything was solved. It wasn't. But because we'd stopped lying to ourselves. I knew there'd be hard conversations ahead. There'd be whispers, maybe even people walking out of our lives. But I also knew something else. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't scared. I still had the folded paper in my wallet. The ink was smudged from being read too many times, but the words were still there. I need to know you want this too. Now, I didn't just know my answer. I'd given it to her. So tell me, would you risk everything for the person you can't forget? Or would you walk away before it even begins?